So, college. If you're already looking into it, then you know there's no sugarcoating it. College is expensive. Average yearly tuition ranges anywhere from $10,000 for an in-state public college all the way up to $60,000 for a private university. Our current education system makes it almost impossible not to take on debt in order to secure a good education. The average outstanding debt of a college graduate is about $29,000, with many paying that off all the way through their 30s, 40s, and 50s, and sometimes even higher. The student loan industry is up to an all-time high of $2 trillion. How do you even wrap your head around that? The average American has no other alternative but to take on massive loads of debt just to pay for an education.
How do I do it? I'm in debt up to my eyeballs.
If you've decided that college is right for you, then that's great, but you shouldn't have to sign over your soul to do that. I'm about a year out from graduating, and I've done so without taking on any debt, and I've used very little of my own money to do so. I want to show you guys how I did that and give you some tips so that you can save money on college and make it the right and affordable choice for you. So my college journey started well before I was in college. When I was 14, I started working at a local ice cream shop. From there, I went on to work a number of odd jobs, saving up money and practicing frugality. I had fun, I hung out with friends, but I saved up as much as I could to prepare for the future. That very simple sacrifice made a huge difference when it came to my first few years of college. A few grand wasn't much, but it made a big difference. After I graduated high school, I went straight to community college. Some people just simply aren't willing to do this because university is more fun, there's more people, community college gets kind of a bad rep. But I could go on and on about the benefits of going to community college. If you live within the same county as your community college, it will be dirt cheap. About $150 a class depending on where you live. Who can pass that up? Even if you live outside of the county, it is still significantly cheaper than the average college tuition. So why not take advantage of that? You're already doing your basics, so it's not like you're missing out on the stuff that's actually important to your degree. You're learning about the sciences and math and all the boring stuff that you're going to skip over anyway. For me, the best part about community college was the low-stress environment that gave me room to figure things out. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I kept telling myself I have 2 years to figure it out, and then I transfer colleges and declare my degree. So that means I could take classes without worrying about financial burdens, and I could explore different areas of interest while I was at community college. So by the time I transferred to a university and declared my degree, I knew exactly what I wanted to do, and I had the confidence to go after it with heart. One last thing I'll say about community college is it's pretty easy to make good grades. As long as you make a 90 or higher in each class, and these are the basics, then you have a 4.0. Why is that important? Well, most universities will accept transfers based on that GPA. So say you wanted to get into your dream college, right? And you did horrible on the ACT or SAT because those things are ridiculous. They're not a good judgment of what kind of person you are and what you're capable of. But when it came time to transfer to one of my dream colleges, all they cared about was my GPA. Not to mention, because of that 4.0, my university gave me a transfer scholarship that took off several grand for both 2 years of college. Now, when it came time to transfer to university, I took my decision very seriously because there were different ways I could go. I looked at a private university, which was about $50,000 a year in average tuition. And now the thing with private universities is they will offer you a bunch of scholarships to make it seem like they're a good deal. But even with scholarships, you're usually paying at least half of the tuition. And $26,000 a year is still a heck of a lot of money over the course of 2 years. Ultimately, I opted in for a local in-state college with dirt cheap tuition of 10 grand per year. This ended up being the best decision for me financially because I am not paying a single dime in tuition for those 2 years of university. First, my transfer scholarship covered about half of the tuition. If I can stress one thing for you, pay attention. FAFSA, Pell Grant. Look it up, look at the requirements, and make sure that you're eligible because it makes a huge difference in your education costs. The FAFSA Pell Grant is from the government. It helps people with low income afford college. This is free money that you never have to pay back. The first step is to file independent from your parents. Now, when I first started college, my parents wanted to claim me as their dependent to save on taxes. Little did we know, we could have saved almost $10,000 over the course of the first 2 years of college in tuition if they had just let me be an independent. Thankfully, we saved close to $20,000 over the next 2 years of college just by making that one move. The truth is, most college students filed as independent will fall under the category of in need for FAFSA. All it takes is one Pell Grant to get most, if not all, of your tuition covered. That is a game changer. I know it was for me. Now that's the general way that I paid for most of my college, but there's a few other things that I did that had significant savings for me in the long run. One of the biggest things was staying local. Most parents understand that before you graduate college, you're not really off on your feet yet, and they're usually willing to let you stay to save some money. Even if you're paying them a little bit of rent and helping with the groceries, it will be significantly cheaper than room and board. Depending on how much of a college experience you want, if you opt in for certain online classes, then you can save a lot of money in gas and time, and sometimes even secure lower rates. I also have always packed my lunch going to school, which has saved me thousands in the long run instead of buying an expensive meal plan. You know the one, you pay for it and you don't use it enough and you end up giving out free meals to your friends. I saved a lot of time and gas money by packing my classes into just 2 days per week. I would just have classes for like 7-8 hours in a row. I would show up, I would take my classes, I would meet with friends, go to the gym, go to events, go to a basketball game or a football game. And honestly, that was great. So I'm going to break these expenses down for you guys. Okay, because I stayed local, but I didn't live on campus, my total gas expense was $12.50. And while that is a decent chunk of change, think about how much I would have spent on room and board instead. Parking, $210. Course access and online books, $1,600. Total tuition, $11,400, all of which came from the first 2 years of college. That comes to a total college expense of $14,000 over 4 years, or $3,500 per year. Pretty affordable, right? Debt is an option. It's definitely not a necessity. It doesn't matter if you have wealthy parents. It doesn't matter if you have a full-ride scholarship. You don't need any of that for college to be affordable. If you put a little bit of effort, a little bit of sacrifice, maybe work a part-time job, you can absolutely go to college for very little money. So that's the story of how I went to college for dirt cheap, under $15,000 for 4 years. And I could have done it under $5,000 if I had watched this video before I got started. This video wasn't meant to be a blueprint, but rather it's just to give you insight on the many different ways that you can knock down those expenses and make college a financially fruitful decision for you. So I want to know, what out of this was the most helpful for you? Which of these are you going to try? Let me know down in the chat. If you've used another strategy that's been helpful for you, let others know. If this video was helpful for you, please leave a like, leave feedback down below, and if you haven't subscribed, I would really appreciate the support. As always, I want you guys to go out there, optimize your wealth, maximize your life, and I'll see you next Friday.